So it is a problem, and I know there's an investigation underway. But what can you tell me about what happened yesterday?
Yeah, it's drugs are coming in through the mail. It's an invisible thing that the staff can't see. Majority of the times, that it could be airborne, it could be narcotics, it could be amphetamines, it can be pest spray on the mail. What they do is they use that to get it into the prison system, and then they can either sell it for drugs, use it for personal use, and our staff are the victims of this because they're getting exposed to this. They're going to the hospital. They're coming into work every day just to do their job, and they're leaving in a stretcher. And that's kind of where Congressman Swanson came yesterday, and he's like, "We're fed up. We need to do something. We cannot keep doing business as usual. We've had this issue." Representative Bustos did a letter, back in 2022, signed by Senator Durbin, saying this is an issue, and it's still going on in 2025. We had an issue in Victorville just last week. 10 staff members went to the hospital. This time, 17 was a total number of staff that went out yesterday. And, yes, the FBI is investigating. Yes, there's a hazmat team at Thomson. But they're going to go back to business as usual and say, nothing to see here. This is why we're doing this, is to make awareness of this, to push the bill. And again, what we're pushing for is to scan all mail for drugs, period. That's what we want. So our staff do not have to touch this toxic stuff, so another law enforcement officer does not have to die. That is what we want, is a safe, free environment and the respect for the rule of law.
Tell me a little bit about how the drug is getting in. I mean, is it like you open an envelope and it's just full of cocaine, or is it like somehow weaved into the paper? Or like how does this work?
Yeah,
what kind of methods is
there's multiple methods that they can use. They can put the stuff under the stamp. They can put it under the envelope, the flip of the envelope. They can soak the papers, with whatever the drug of choice. And, sometimes it gets airborne. And that's, the problem is, once it's inside that room, everyone pretty much in that room gets affected. And, with the incident yesterday, I mean, it's just an invisible killer. And that's where, you can't see the threat, but it's there. We have gloves in place, but the gloves don't always work. And that's kind of where we need to eliminate the drugs. We need to let the staff know is we're testing the mail for drugs on outside the source, so you're not touching drug contaminated mail. That way, these bad actors that are sending drugs into the federal prison will stop, because it's not going to make it there because it's getting tested offsite.
So tell me a little bit more about the precautions that folks take to avoid exposure. You talked about gloves. I mean, what else can folks do? What else are people doing?
The gloves are the main part. I can't go into security aspects of what protocols we take on a lot of stuff, but that's why we're pushing for this bill, is because that bill makes it to where everything's tested for drugs. Legal mail coming into the prison, everything's get tested for drugs through a third-party site, not by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. When it comes in there, it's drug-free to the prisons. And again, not only does it protect staff, it protects other inmates that don't want to get infested by any drugs coming into the prison.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about next, because not everybody in the prison is on drugs or dealing drugs. I mean, what's that like to be an inmate there and have the potential for exposure to? I mean, can you speak to that at all, or what does that do for? Let me ask it a different way. What does that do for, for like what's going on in the prison, or like the vibe in there, right? I mean, can you talk about that a little bit? Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, so I mean, what I will say on that is that the majority of the time, from my knowledge, is inmates aren't going to come forward to say, I accidentally got exposed to drugs and I got high. They're not going to say that because they're going to get in trouble. So that's an issue, and again, like, majority of the people don't want this crap in the prison. They don't want to get this stuff. It's just a small percent, and that's why we want to get rid of it and, protect the inmates, protect the staff, and the staff just want to come to work, do their job, and go home.
I talked to a family of a current inmate now today, and it was funny because you don't usually have law enforcement and criminals on the same page, but one of the things that they were telling me is like, look, my husband doesn't do drugs. He doesn't want them in there. He doesn't want exposed just as much as the guards don't want exposed.
So the bill we're proposing is actually a bipartisan bill that we worked with both sides, that once the mail gets scanned for drugs, it comes back into the prison, because the thing that we want is the drugs out of the mail. The things that other stakeholders want and the inmate families want, they actually want them to have physical mail. And we came up with a bipartisan bill to say that once the mail tests negative for drugs, they'd have 30 days to come back inside. The inmates will get a digital copy of that mail within 24 hours, and that physical copy, if it tests negative for drugs, will come in within 30 days.
Okay.
So that's where the compromise is on this bill. And again, what we want is the drugs not to come into prison and protect the staff and the inmates from the infestation that's going on.
So when there is an exposure, you do detect drugs. Is the prison going to like a lockdown, or like what's the protocol then?
There is a security protocol that the warden does. I can't cover that just because it's a security measure for the prison. But there are protocols that the warden will go through.
Have you had lockdowns because of drugs though? Are those two things connected at all, or without disclosing security stuff?
When the safety and security institution, the warden makes a determination, and they will do additional security measures, but that's controlled by the warden.
Okay, cool. I think I'm good, man.
Cool.
Yeah. So wait, one last question, John. You told me earlier that the folks who were exposed, it's not just the guards; it's the people who come in right away to help, and it's the medical team that comes in. So I mean, it puts a lot of folks in jeopardy. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. I mean, some of our medical staff, some of the first responders that were administering Narcan got exposed. So I mean, the staff in the mailroom got exposed. So it's just a horrible situation that we just need to prevent. We just need to scan the mail for drugs. And luckily, I do want to point this out, is we were one of the first prisons to make sure that all staff carry Narcan on them at all times. And this is the new reality we're living in, is that we have to carry Narcan because so much drugs are coming through the mail that, and luckily for that situation, there was a couple staff that required 2 doses of Narcan right away on that, and you look at a mass situation like that yesterday, is we needed that Narcan readily available. We have some Narcan in the mailroom, but not that much. So that's why it's important that, our staff carry that, because when an inmate, overdoses on something, we have it readily available. When a staff, we have it readily available, and it saves lives.